The alien structures you're talking about, they're transforming the drilling corridor and progressing up the drilling corridor towards the main ship.
Welcome to the show where anything could happen. The real play experience where we put players against problems with no easy answers, incomplete information, and a ticking clock. I'm Oscar, I'm your host, and it's my job to set things up and to go behind the scenes to pass messages to the players to keep knocking things off track. In this episode, we find ourselves in the LHS 1140 system, orbiting LHS 1140b, a rocky super-Earth in the habitable zone, just 49 light-years from Earth. Its thick atmosphere and gravity make colonization tricky, but its mineral resources have drawn interest from across the UFR and beyond. The UFR Colonial Claimant Department has taken residence on the newly established orbital station Kite's End, and have finished its primary assessment, and 3 competing groups, each with partial legal rights, have arrived to finalise terms. On the surface, things look diplomatic, but tensions are high, and it's not just about land. Let's meet our players.
Hi, I'm Chris Payne. I'm a game developer and role player, and I am playing John Woodrow, the senior engineer for GlacioDyne Corporation.
Hi, I'm him. I am an actual play producer. I am going to be playing Benji Copley, who is the biologist.
And hi, I am Lucy. I am a video game producer, and I am playing Officer Lucical, the UFR Scientist Oversight Officer. I make sure that the planetary bioethics protocol are respected. So essentially, don't touch life if it's good life.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Stubbs. I'm a gaming marketer, and I'm going to be playing Carmen, the project commander.
What does this mean for the mission? And who owns the rights for exploration? Well, anything can happen.
Everyone, nice to see everyone. I'm here to talk about and represent any potential life form on the surface of the planet. And I've just received reports that there's apparently a vast colony of complex multicellular myco-gelid organism that have been found embedded in the ice. It might be unique to this planet within the whole galaxy, so you have to proceed with a lot of cautions. And I say you because I will do everything in my power to stop you if this life form seems to be rare, endangered, and sentient.
In your sciencey things, have you figured out, like, if it's possible for you to take this life form off of the planet so that we're able to continue drilling and you can do whatever experiments you need to do to figure out what it is or where it comes from?
Well, the first step on any of these things is always to get a actual sample in our hands to know if we can even answer that question.
Right, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're on a time clock here. We've got an incoming storm. We have a 20-minute window. We need authorization, Commander, to start drilling within the next 20 minutes. Otherwise, we are going to miss the window.
Look, I completely understand that, John. And
enormous expense.
Understood. It's also an expense and an issue, though, if there is some kind of life form on here and we still decide to drill it. So,
well, most exoplanets have microbial life.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to assess.
They're microbes. They're tiny. They are without sentience. They aren't. They don't exhibit any sort of multicellular working together. It is mostly like you get the sun, you get the rain, Bob's your uncle. But this is so much more. This could be, in theory, I would recommend that we have a look at the hole that we have already drilled, and we get samples from there first before you continue your drilling. We can't answer any questions at all until we get a sample. And if you continue to drill, you will most likely destroy the evidence that we already have. And we can't make a conclusive answer scientifically until we have samples in our hands. And you drilling away, I understand it costs a lot of money, and I thank you very much for funding this operation, etc., yada, yada, yada. But we found life. Do you know how rare that is? We found life. We should have a look.
I agree with Benji. I
Thank
agree
you.
with Benji. Of
Take the
course.
samples, but how long is it going to take to assess whether or not this life is sentient?
Oh, it's not sentient.
But it
How
might
do you know
be.
that?
It's just multicellular.
Yes, and that's the first step towards knowing that this thing could be sentient. That's the whole reason why I'm here, is to assess whether we are respecting the bioethic protocol that you should be aware of, good sir.
Okay, rather than wasting too much time, because, John, we're on the clock, let's get you, Benji, whatever kind of sample it is that you need in your hand so you can assess this thing. How long is it going to take you to figure this out?
Well, the thing is, it's not quite as easy as take a sample, put it in a petri dish, have a look at it. See, no, you understand my problems. See, you get it. We have to make sure that the environment is replicatable. We have to make sure that because we take it from the cold, high pressure of the ice and bring it upwards, that doesn't necessarily mean it will behave in the same way. We need prolonged time, we need studies, we need multiple samples done at multiple times. I would say, what is it engineers do? It'll cost you maybe a couple of days.
A couple of days?
No, there's no way. We are holding 2 atmospheric drilling corridors open with that. If we have to open a new one, that could cause massive storm circulations. We have got a very narrow window. We have spent months lining this up.
Yeah, it's my understanding that if we don't drill soon, we're actually not losing a few days, we're losing a few months. John, I don't know if you know if that's right?
We are losing all of the work that has been put into the project thus far, and we will have to start establishing a new drilling site with new atmospheric corridors.
Look, I appreciate it's inconvenient, but you can imagine that creating a genocide of a potential sentient species is a bigger inconvenience, perhaps.
Right, we're not talking about inconvenience.
Wait, how did we get to genocide?
Well, because that's what could happen if you do keep drilling without us being able to confirm whether this life form and this colony is sentient and rare or not. You could actually cause a genocide of them. I shouldn't have to explain to you, the environment of every planet is so fragile. Anything that you bring onto them can disturb everything and destroy worlds.
I mean, you must be familiar with the butterfly effect. A tiny change here and there, you could completely wipe out these species.
And we don't have anything on site that would allow us to keep the species frozen in the ice that they're currently in so that we can do our studies not on the drilling site.
I mean, it's an entire planet. There must be... This thing must exist other places than the drilling site.
The life form itself could be extremely... What if I could prove that it had some sort of distributed intelligence?
In the next 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's say, and I am not looking at anyone in particular, and you should not look at me, that if we had, say, some images that prove that they make very deliberate structures.
As we know, it's one of the signs of a life form being sentient.
Right, exactly. But I don't look at anyone in particular, especially not myself, because I mean, the source of the information may not be strictly authorized, but, accidents happen, probes are sent to the surface when they should not have been. I might be able to prove that they have very definite distributed intelligence, at least. They make very deliberate patterns. They make very deliberate structures.
So are we saying that GlacioDyne has conducted some unauthorized operations already on the planet? Is that what I'm hearing?
What? No. This is nothing to do with GlacioDyne.
Mm-hmm.
That's her probes. Look,
Yeah,
we have just
Benji's
lost
not a
one of
part
our
of-
atmospheric corridors with the turbulence. We have got to proceed with the drilling now, or we are going to lose it.
But, I mean, the turbulence of the drilling is what caused the atmospheric collapse?
No, we haven't started drilling.
Okay. I'm gonna need hard evidence in order to stop the drilling. I'm gonna emphasize this. For the drilling to stop, Officer Lucicle or Benji, you're gonna have to give me hard evidence that this life is
I have
sentient.
it on incredibly good authority.
Authority is not enough. You're gonna have to provide
are about to receive exactly the proof that you are asking for. I don't know how I know this information. You're going to get it, but you're about to receive it.
I'd love to see it very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Commander, we have to go. There are billions of these life forms all over the entire planet. This
Excuse me? Where's your
hydrocarbon...
PhD to know all of that? Like, where's this magical crystal ball in which you can tell that
It's
this
a
life form is all
planet.
over the planet? Yes. Are you not coming from a planet where life is localized?
Right, but our
Exactly.
life is scattered all throughout the planet. Anyways,
Right. If we were to, nuke Australia, do you think we could keep the kangaroos? That's essentially that.
that's hurtful.
Well, I agree. I agree. That's what we're essentially talking about. Are we about to blow up the kangaroos of that poor planet? That's the whole point of me being in this operation.
Okay.
This drilling cannot go if we don't have full bioanalysis that there are no sentient life on this planet or life that is in danger.
Mm-hmm. Understood. And John, do you have any materials of yourself that prove that this life form exists beyond just the drilling, or is this
hang
anecdotal
on.
for you?
I'm receiving proof from somewhere, I assume, Benji. I got spectrographic images that there might be deliberate patterning in the ice.
I see those, but it's hardly conclusive.
Oh,
Wow.
again, where's your PhD?
Damn it!
I'm sorry.
See, they are very
The-
deliberate structures. They very much decide we are going to make this kind of structure. This kind of structure does not exist in nature as we know it. This has to come from some
Commander.
kind of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe. Commander, there's disruption at the base of the drill shaft, a minor ice quake, but and if we don't commence drilling and get the machinery in there to extract these organic compounds, we're going to lose it.
Understood. I'll be transparent. I think at this stage, given the source that we have with these images, and also given the fact that the drilling just seems to be not the most stable, that we actually need to abort this mission.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's not the reaction that we need to be having, because it's not everything's perfectly fine. There's still plenty of things that
course.
could be going wrong.
Absolutely, but you've just saved the kangaroos of that planet, probably.
Give me a moment.
Benji, are we...
I'm sorry, Commander. We've seen the atmospheric disruption is interfering with comms now.
You've
I'm-
sent
Hang
a
on.
signal for everything to stop, right? I mean,
I'm seeing signs that the drilling is still continuing.
I can't get through to the drilling platform to issue the abort.
Isn't
instruction.
that convenient now? Project Commander, I think you need to make your authority known that this needs to stop.
Right. Just trying to make sure that I'm making the right decision here. I'm sure you can all understand that everybody is impacted by this.
I mean, everybody.
Lives are at cost.
Exactly, and who can put a price on the myco's kangaroo equivalent of this planet? No one would want to lose that.
All right, we don't have to keep doing the whole kangaroo things. I'm gonna make the executive decision that we're gonna be delaying this project for science to go through with it,
Thank
and then
you
we can
so
reassess
I am
afterwards
waiting.
if this is suitable for drilling.
Okay, and I'm waiting for a signal that says that the drilling has stopped.
Would that be for John? Thanks.
Yeah, I am trying to get through.
But are you actually trying to get through? Are you actually trying to get them to stop? I know that money
What are
signs
you
in your
trying to
eyes.
imply?
I am actually just going to outright say it. I have the source of some of those images reporting directly to me, and they say that they don't see any problem with any sort of signal to tell them to stop whatsoever.
Well, isn't that
Are
right?
they in charge of the drilling
Doc-
platform?
Well, Dr. Woodrow, are you not able to not only be able to tell that there are life forms that could be all
Okay.
over the planet or not, and also send a signal?
I have re-established contact, and the drilling platform is locked in the ice, unfortunately. I can't disconnect at the moment.
You mean it's just drilling uncontrollably?
It could be risky.
It could be risky to stop drilling. Because
Yes.
guess what? It could be risky to keep drilling.
Not to my staff.
What's
Project
that
Command.
supposed to mean? It's not risky for your staff to continue drilling.
No, the drilling platform is currently trapped in the ice. If they stop drilling, then there's a risk they could be crushed.
Okay, and there's no way to get your staff out of that space. What would they need to get to safety?
Let me see.
You need to find a way out of there right now. Your people, they have to get out right now. There are shapes that are heading directly towards the drill.
What?
Move. Get your people out right now. I am not fucking around and pretending to protect my ass by knowing I have things down there that I should not. I do. There are things coming for your people. You have to get them out now.
I have issued the order for them to evacuate.
Is there anything we can do from here to help them? These things are pretty big and pretty fucking pissed off.
And they've stopped drilling. To make it even worse, they need to evacuate after they've stopped drilling.
Abandon it.
Well,
Look, I love life in all its forms, and as much as I love new, strange, new, weird life, your life's also pretty fucking important. Leave it behind. It is just things.
let me see what's going on. I'm trying to find a way of getting my people out.
Stop drilling and get out.
It sounds like the drilling has stopped. It's the issue is trying to get everyone out safely, which
I hope so. But I'm not saying I don't want the staff to be safe, but just making things worse if we don't stop drilling. And
I am trying to get my people out and back off the drilling, but
yeah, well, I mean, I'm seeing reports that the drilling still seems to be continuing.
yeah.
I
do not. I understand now why they can't. Given I have told them to disregard the drilling and disregard the equipment, they are still unable to disengage.
Okay. I can see that they have been ordered to evacuate, though. Benji, I have to ask, whatever reports you're getting of the things that are coming for the engineers currently on site, what do we know about what's coming towards them?
Let me just take a look. It looks like the structures coming, which basically whatever these myco things are, they're transforming the drilling equipment where it contacts the ice. I think it's changing everything it's coming into contact with.
Changing it in what way?
I can't tell.
Well, I need to get my people out.
You do. They have to leave. Is there anything that we can take down to the surface to bring them up more quickly?
Commander, I don't know. Something. The alien structures you're talking about, they're transforming the drilling corridor and progressing up the drilling corridor towards the main ship.
Okay. And we know that your people are evacuating, which is the best
people
thing.
are out. People are out.
Good.
But
the drilling is still
okay. We need to connect the.
Yeah, can you remotely control
We have
it?
to disconnect the orbital cable.
right. Does that require someone being on the surface to do?
The only way to disconnect the cable in the time frame that we're talking about, it's a complicated thing to disengage it safely. We're going to have to use an explosive. It will damage the ship.
Damage
ship?
our ship?
Our ship.
Okay.
Understood. And what is the likelihood of it damaging our ship? Do we have any figures to go off of?
It's pretty likely, I'll be honest. But if we don't, then whatever is climbing up the drilling corridor is likely to climb all the way up the orbital cable to our ship.
Wait a minute. Can explosives? Great, wonderful. It means you have something very fiery and explosive, and that would generate heat. Can you make a charge that is slightly smaller than, not safely disconnecting the ship, that we can put down the corridor? I think some sort of heat or maybe an endothermic reaction would be able to slow them down enough to be able to properly disconnect it.
Yeah, okay, that could be good. And even if not, it may inhibit the progress of the alien that likes the cold.
Exactly.
So,
I think it will slow them down. It will give you enough time to properly disconnect so that we don't hurt ourselves in the process.
okay, yeah, we've got some chemical heating pads and heating elements that we can jury rig. Let's see if we can heat this cable up. All right. Unfortunately, some of my team are on a shuttle on their way up from the surface, so it may not be the fastest, but let's see what we can do.
Right. So we're waiting for them to get to safety before we.
Well, they're in a shuttle, so it shouldn't matter if we start heating the cable.
I would say
immediately.
start it now.
Yeah.
We need to slow them down. We have
okay.
to disconnect, so as fast as possible.
All right, fantastic. Bill is reporting that the crystallization coming up the cable seems to be retreating.
My source says the same.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah. Well.
I guess
There
that
you go.
answers whether or not it's sentient. Yeah. I think we can definitively say.
We still need to disconnect though, because we bought ourselves time, but that might be enough for Bill and the guys to disconnect it the conventional way.
Let's go.
Let's get on that, Bill.
And on that note, the corridor drilling system is disconnected. The life forms are left on the surface. But I believe the commander, it is your final decision. Are you aborting the project or are you planning to continue?
Aborting it.
And on that note, the project is aborted. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yay! Finally, I win a mission.
We win a mission. Yay. I
Capitalism
deliberately
loses
made-
again. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
Yay. I
Capitalism
deliberately
has
made it.
hands.
Science wins.
For science.
I feel like even I feel like I won that, even though I didn't win that, but I got away with it.
You got
Yeah.
away with it.
Well, sort of. I mean, none of
Kinda
your
got
people
away with
died. You just lost a lot of money.
Well, you actually
you don't know
kept
the half of
drilling. You kept the drilling going, so you will have actually got a hell of a lot of samples and so you would have ended up actually GlacioDyne being very profitable. Why indeed would this have been so profitable? Anyone remember?
Oh. Yeah, there were some early pre-drilling samples that suggested that there were some unique life forms down there that could have revolutionized organic computing technology. But I deleted those logs.
Interesting.
I knew something was weird.
Indeed.
That's why I
then-
requested quarantine of the whole planet, and I was still waiting to hear from it. And you can bet that I'm definitely gonna ask again.
But Lucy, does that mean you won, or does that mean that you didn't win?
Because the drilling continued?
Because the drilling continued and you didn't get your quarantine.
No, I never got my quarantine. Well, I'm waiting for it. What am I supposed to do? Message you in private? Where's my quarantine?
Well,
Gimme.
that's the other thing that I got away with, because the drilling continued because I fully overruled the commander.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Pretty
Oh,
clearly.
right.
Yeah.
So we
But
just
I think-
survived. That's all that happened. But wait, the kangaroos are dying then? What about the kangaroos?
At this point, I love kangaroos, but fuck those mushroom things.
Well, no, but
you
we
love
bothered
those
them.
mushroom things. They were
I
a unique
do.
life form.
They're amazing, and they pretended to look like the drill in like a weird mating dance. This is what I'm making up in my own head. They look like the
That's
drill.
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like a drill, and then like their advances were rebuffed, so they turned on us.
You had to make it weird.
Hi, I'm Ham. Nice to meet you.
No, but they were sentient and
Yeah. And
kangaroo.
at the point that they decide to try and kill us, I see them like us and fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Self-defense.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
God damn it, so I didn't win. Again.
But I think there's somebody else who lost more.
Yeah.
Go on, own up.
I mean, GlacioDyne was gonna give me a lot of money if I continued the drilling, and I was half tempted to be like, Oscar, can I secretly tell John to still drill? And then I was like, probably not. And then that would be really bad. That would be a
You
very
should have
bad
done.
thing to do.
It would have been fine. Anything
You
can happen. You're
Totally
allowed.
could have done.
Damn!
I
There goes
would
my
totally
chance
have
at being
covered
a
for you.
millionaire.
We've had scenarios where players have basically murdered or attempted to murder other players in the game.
I have murdered.
Oh my
I
god.
have murdered.
Yeah.
You need to
You
clip
have
just
murdered.
Lucy saying, I have murdered.
I have murdered.
I have murdered.
I have
Yeah.
murdered. I have been known to murder times.
Plural. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
There's a
think
plurality of murder.
aside from the like money that I was being offered, I was also really intrigued because I intercepted the logs about the previous harvest of like protein clusters and the fact that it could be used for neural implants, and I was like, maybe that is like good for people and I could reason the money
Right.
that way. Yeah, but
You need
in
to
the
talk
That's why I
end,
people.
worded it that way for you.
I'm running a leaky operation.
unfortunately, as soon as kangaroos were mentioned, the Australian in me could not sit still and went, justice
I
for
could
the
tell.
indigenous species.
I could tell when I said kangaroo, you were like, oh no, got me right in the feels. I'm so glad because it's not even a very good example. It's not that sentient. It's not that they can build stuff. Like I should have said,
Emu.
I should have said, the monkeys or something.
How dare you?
How
Oh, the parrots. The parrots. Australian. The parrot.
So murder
This
has
parrot.
been and will be committed.
But I'm glad all it took was kangaroos. Because to be fair, people eat
Yeah.
kangaroo meat and stuff.
I've had kangaroo meat.
But what did you lose
probably
out
have to.
on? What were you offered in mid-play?
Me? What was I offered? Oh,
Money.
like
More
a
money.
full planet?
Yeah. So
What?
I basically highlighted that if you'd have
Wow.
let the project carry on,
Yeah,
The
I would
amount
get
of
enough
cash
money
this
to
is
buy a
worth.
whole planet.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
what,
but
like,
fuck capitalism.
or I guess, or Mormonism, because don't they get their own planet? I don't know. I've watched Book of
Yeah,
Mormon,
I'm
and they
not
say
Mormon.
Jesus gets his own planet. That's the reason I know.
I feel like I'm the only reasonable person here.
But you don't like the Book of Mormon or
You're
kangaroos?
in
Is
it
that
for
what
the
it is?
science.
I was in it for the science and a reasonable scientist. I did consider doing like the no, them taking over the drilling thing. You know what? Fuck you guys. The mushrooms are more important. I'm like, no, I'm a reasonable human being.
Look.
Oh, god damn it.
They thought you'd reached out and touched them, so they were just coming to say hello.
Yeah, I was
Perfectly
very
reasonable.
intrigued if it was gonna be violent or not.
Well,
And I just told you guys, just don't reach for them. Just don't reach
I got
for
a
them.
message which was like, sharp, aggressive-looking shapes are approaching. Almost like languages. I'm like, no, fuck language. All I know is death right now.
Yeah, I've noticed weirdly that, I don't know, I keep being surprised even though I've done so many episodes where it's like, oh, there's some sort of contact being made. I'm like, maybe they want to be friends. They never want to be friends. They never want to be friends. I know how
Maybe
you work
it's
now,
you,
Oscar.
it's not them.
In this one, I hadn't decided if they would be friendly or not. They were just going to climb up the corridor.
Okay,
And
well,
then-
there you go.
We'd find out.
Okay.
You know
I
what they
have
say?
to say,
Fuck about and find
but-
out.
but for a senior engineer, I was having to flange an awful lot of technology. There's some machinery on the surface, but also we have a corridor. Yeah, we're dangling it onto the surface from orbit.
That's pretty much how I have in my head that there's a corridor that leads down and has devices.
I'm glad that my flanging is in line with your vision.
Yes, exactly.
I
I
could've
probably
been
should
different.
put more information, but I'm very happy for you to devise however it works. As long as you can make something sound reasonable, I'm delighted. Cool.
Well-
anyone got any other secrets or issues or things that they didn't get a chance to reveal during our session?
I know. So is my quarantine supposed to come at some point, Oscar? I made
Well,
that
you see.
request, circling back to my previous email. I just wanted to touch base, about that quarantine request.
You'll get your quarantine when we hit 10,000 subscribers. Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share. What would you have done? Would you give Lucy her quarantine? These are the questions we ask ourselves at the end of every episode. Because this is always after her quarantine.
Yep.
Oh, well, maybe not.
Think about the kangaroos.
Think about the kangaroos. And on that note, I would like to thank our players. Thank you very much. Amazing, fabulous stuff. And obviously, if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual stuff. Tell us if you'll give Lucy our quarantine. And we'll be back next time when, of course, anything could happen.